Okay, hi, I'm Cleo and I'm a Portland fiber artist. I decided over the past week to film any crafting I did, and so I attended several knitting groups. I was cat sitting for a while, and I was knitting my cloud tee by Petite Knit, as well as sewing a skirt. So if you're interested in seeing all the crafting I did this week, you can keep watching. Okay, I want to chat about Friday and everything that happened. On Fridays recently, I've been meeting with a couple of my knitting friends. Most of the times it's Jody and Kate and Holly, and we're all working on some fun projects. We've been going to the Brooklyn food carts in Southeast Portland. They're on the newer side and there's a lot of good options for food. I've been getting a cinnamon latte and some sort of cookie. I don't really know what kind of cookie it is, but it's been fun to chat with them in a smaller group. And I rode my bike there, which was all uphill, so that was a bit hard, but I survived even though I was pretty out of breath. Then I was doing my round of cat sitting for Benny and Cal and Bug and Newt. They were all very sweet today, and when I'm with Benny and Cal, I end up just knitting and cuddling with them, and they're really sweet. I think I ended up biking like 6 miles with all of these stops. After cat sitting, I headed home and my girlfriend and I ate dinner, and then we drove over to Laurelhurst Park to watch Comedy in the Park. This is an event that happens every Friday in the park, and I think it's just this comedy group that comes and brings in a few different people to do a small show. We thought it was somewhat funny. A lot of it was more parent-focused jokes, so my friends and I didn't think it was all very funny, but I enjoyed sitting with my friends and having drinks. We ended up playing giant Uno with giant Uno cards, and that was silly. And I had fun overall, and it was really nice weather. After, like usual, we went to one of our local bars that has pretty good food and drinks, and so I had a grilled cheese and a cider, and we ended up just chatting for a while before we headed home and went to bed. I'll mention on Friday I was working on the back panel of my cloud tee by Petite Knit, and I'm still working on it now. Okay, hi! Today is Saturday, and we'll see how much knitting I can get done. Right now, I'm about to get my bangs trimmed, and I'm gonna go a lot shorter, so I'll show you what they look like. I had another day with the cats, and they were very sweet. And then later that night, we had a bunch of friends come over and hang out on our patio. We have this little spot underneath the trees in our front area with a big table, and we bring out a tablecloth, and we brought out some candles and ended up playing Uno, but then also Catan. I've never played Catan before, and I was kind of intimidated, but I had a lot of fun. I ended up winning, and so that was pretty great, but yeah, it was a fun night overall and a great way to have a chill weekend night. I was still on my back panel, and with Catan, I was able to do a little bit each time it was not my turn. Okay, hi, it's Sunday, and it's really bright. It's gonna be so hot today. I just finished applying for a few jobs, so I'm really happy that that's done, and then I'm going to check on all the cats in a little bit. Oh, and I need to edit some videos because I filmed that first podcast that's probably already posted. Okay, today is Monday, and I have a lot of crafting plans for the rest of the week. During the weekdays, I'm pretty much home all alone while my girlfriend is at work. So I have several ideas of projects that I could get going on. The first one is the Sandra skirt. I have beautiful linen from Blackbird Fabrics that my mom gifted me 2 years ago. The fabric is so nice and special that no project was worthy of using it, but now I have been checking out the Sandra skirt by Sydney Graham. I have watched the video tutorial, purchased the pattern, and last week I printed out the pages and taped them together. So now I'm going to get going on cutting the fabric and starting to sew. I'm not really sure if I can get this project done today, but that would be really cool. I've been wearing a lot of linen and dresses and skirts recently now that it's getting warm out, so I would love to add a green flowy skirt to my closet. And later today, like usual, I'm cat sitting, so I'll be taking care of Bug and Newt and Cal and Benny. And I realize I'm probably showing a lot of clips of them, but they're very sweet and I love spending time with them. Okay, so I have everything I need to get going on the skirt. I have my fabric, my rotary cutter, the pattern pieces that I need to cut out to my size, and I'm just watching some crafting vlogs while I get going on this. Okay, I've decided I don't want to do the lining. I don't think this is see-through enough to do it, and I would love for it to be super lightweight. So I have the pattern for the pocket, and then this all rolled up is the main skirt pattern. I think I need to cut 4 of these and then 10 of these. And you know what? I didn't pre-wash it. I just want to get this done today, so I know that's not the best move, but we'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, the project was a fail and I'm so sad about it. I spent pretty much the whole day sewing and I thought I chose the size that would fit me best and it just doesn't fit. I'm not great at keeping the correct seam allowances, and then when I was cutting out the pattern, it was just hard for me to get straight lines. So I think over sewing all the panels, it just shrunk by several inches and it doesn't fit. I'm kind of heartbroken and I'm so sad that I put so much effort into sewing that skirt. But at this point, I'm trying to be positive about it and I'll probably gift it to someone that it would be interested in that. Overall, sewing is definitely my most challenging hobby. It's just so precise and repetitive. Well, you could say the same thing about knitting. I don't know, it's so repetitive and precise that I just end up getting frustrated and annoyed pretty quickly, and it's much harder to fix your mistakes. With knitting, you can just frog it or work back, and with sewing, I cut out the fabric and it was wavy, and I sewed it too small and I can't undo every single stitch I made. So, oh well, wasted a Monday, but I'll probably try again with the Skyline dress soon to keep sewing the things I want to for the summer. Okay, I'm gonna talk about what happened on Tuesday. Tuesdays are typically my biggest days because of my knitting groups and the other projects I have going on. In the morning, I was applying for jobs with Lady. She gets kind of mad when I'm not in the bedroom hanging out with her, so I end up bringing my coffee and breakfast and knitting project and then computer, and we just hang out and work on stuff for a while. And if you haven't heard, I am unemployed and job searching, so that's the only reason why I spend so much time at home crafting, but I'm also spending time working on my resume and applying for jobs. Then I went to my favorite knitting group. It's a knitting group that goes to a coffee shop in Southeast Portland, and I kind of want to chat about how I found this group and how you can maybe find knitting groups in your city. Last summer, I had graduated college, and when you graduate college, I kind of left behind a lot of the clubs that I used to attend, and I moved to a different part of Portland. I was getting into knitting more, and so I kind of wanted to find a group of friends to knit with for project support, but then just kind of people to talk about knitting since none of my other friends really knit. I just looked up knitting groups on Portland and I found a website called Meetup, and one of the first groups said, craft group, knitting group at a coffee shop. They meet Tuesdays, and I rode my bike there and ended up joining. I'm so happy I have been meeting with them for so long, and they're just such a sweet group. I am in my 20s, and they are wonderful women that are much older than me, but we have such a great time together, and they're really supportive with my job search and my life right now, I guess, and it's so great to hear stories from them. And they're also very experienced knitters, so I get to see like beautiful cable sweaters they're working on or color work projects. So I'm really inspired by their work, and I'm gonna be so sad when I work a day job again and I have to miss the knitting group. But anyways, they're very sweet, and you might know that I started creating a sock pattern called the Girlfriend Socks. They'll be released in July, and right now I have a bunch of test knitters testing the pattern out. I was talking about the project with my knitting group, and a couple of them asked if they could join the test knitters. So now several of them are knitting their own pair of Girlfriend Socks, and I mean, we've kind of been chatting about how I can continue growing crafting in my life, and they totally convinced me that I should do a knitting podcast and post videos on YouTube because they love watching those. So I posted that knitting podcast for June, and one of the women there ended up pulling out her iPad and watched it right there with the captions. They're just so supportive and sweet, and I feel like I'm just their grandchild, and I don't know. They're so kind to me, and I care about them so much, strangely. So I love that group. During that group, I finished the back panel of my cloud tee. I was so happy to get that done. And then I started the front. The cloud tee kind of works up in an interesting way. You're really not doing much on the left and the right shoulder before you cast on extra stitches and then work flat again. So during the group, I got both the left and the right done because I was there for about 2 hours, and I connected in the middle, and then I started going back and forth for a really long time, and I knew it was going to take days before I could get the front all the way complete and then attach under the arms. I met up with the cats again, and I think I ended up biking around 8 miles, maybe 10 miles, because everything's in Southeast Portland, but going from my home to the coffee shop to the first cat to the second cat back home, I ended up spending a lot of time on my bike, and luckily I was wearing a flowy dress, so I wasn't too hot even though it was pretty hot outside, and I wore my helmet and was able to cool off with AC in the cats' homes. And then every Tuesday night from 6 to 7:30, I meet with my craft group that I started. It's called the Rose City Craft Club, and everybody is welcome to join. We have knitters and crocheters, people embroider and paint and journal, so really anyone is welcome, and it's just an opportunity to chat and make friends and work on projects. You can see all the info on my Instagram or on Meetup, and I typically leave it in the description if you want to check that out. So if you live in Portland, I'd love to see you, and in general, if you want to see more about my knitting projects, you can follow me at Stitch by Cleo if you want on Instagram and TikTok. So, loving my Tuesday night knitting group. I didn't film much, but I was continuing to work flat back and forth on my top. Okay, hi. I'll do a little recap of today. So, I'm here with Cal cat sitting. He's being super sweet and cuddly. Cal is apparently very shy and hides under the bed when people come over, but has not been like that around me. He loves squishing his face on me, and he's really sweet, but like instantly he's covered me in hair. There's Cal, and there's Benny. Today is Thursday, and I woke up pretty early this morning, so I ended up knitting for about an hour with my cat Lady on my lap. Then I spent a couple hours applying for paraeducator positions. I recently completed a bachelor's at PSU studying environmental science, and I graduated spring of 2024. But recently I've been wanting to go into education, so next year or the year after that, I'll probably get a master's in elementary education. Right now I'm looking for experience in the classroom, so I'm applying for these paraeducator positions. So anyways, I'm spending most of my time on those applications. I spent the rest of the afternoon editing a summer crafting ideas video. It's probably already posted. I had a lot of fun finding pictures and finding inspiration for the video, so you can check that out if you want. I mention knitting, crochet, sewing, embroidery, pottery, and collaging. After this, I'm gonna go home, eat dinner, and then I'm going to the Puddletown Knitters Guild. They meet once a month on Thursdays, and there's usually a knit and chat for an hour and then a lesson. Tonight, I think we're gonna learn about natural dyeing and how you can dye your own fiber. So that will be interesting. I've been curious for a while how to dye fiber with veggie scraps like the skins of onion. So we'll see what I can learn there. Maybe it's ambitious, but I really want to get this t-shirt done soon. It would be great if I could have the front completed by Sunday so I can get knitting in the round. And once I'm knitting in the round, I feel like it'll zoom by and maybe I can spend a couple of weeks on it. I'll show you my progress right now. So it's kind of tangled up, but this is the back yoke. I knit all the way down to where it'll connect in my underarm. And then here is the front. It's all tangled, but a couple days ago, I casted on both the front left and the front right shoulder panel. I connected in the middle, and now I'm working back and forth until I reach the same length. So maybe Sunday, I'll have the front and the back connected, and I'll be working in the round. Okay, hi. Today is Friday the 13th, and I want to talk about what we did last night at the craft night. So again, it's the Puddletown Knitters Guild, and I was wrong about the lesson. We actually did a lesson on warm weather knitting. We had someone come in that specializes in warm weather knitting, and we kind of went through all the different fibers you can work with, and it helped me learn about the current fiber I'm working on. And this is the Knitting for All of Pure Silk. I learned the difference between like just silk, pure silk, I don't know. There were several kinds, and so that was helpful to learn about the different fibers I could try out for the summer. They also went through patterns, and it was a good night to chat with some of my friends. My friend Holly is there, and she's also knitting a t-shirt with a light blue pure silk yarn, the same Knitting for Olive yarn, and I think the color is really pretty. It'd be cool to use that fiber someday, and I'm just loving the color. I was really lucky to win the raffle. So at the beginning, you're given 2 raffle tickets, and they had 2 prizes. Here's Benny. There was 2 raffles. The first one was some merino yarn, and the second one was some fiber. Is it called roving? And a hand spinning tool. I'm not sure what it's called, but I picked that one because it looked more interesting, and I ended up winning. They called my number, I grabbed it, and it's a hobby I've never tried out before. I'm trying to think of the YouTuber. Her name is maybe like Kate B something, that does a lot of spinning, and I'm really inspired by her work. So I'll probably try that out at some point this summer. Pretty quickly after I was gifted that, we closed the meeting, and a knitter rushed up to me and said, "Hey, I do lessons on spinning. Have you ever done it before?" And I said no. So they gave me their number, and I'll probably check that out at some point. This group meets once a month, but over the summer, we can't meet in the building because there's no AC and it gets really hot. So there's a couple outdoor events at local parks instead. So I think next month I'm gonna go to a park in Southeast Portland for a few hours and hang out with my knitting friends. Okay, hi, I wanted to do a final update on my cloud tee. It's been several days and I've connected under the arms. I'm so happy with the progress I'm making. So I've got about 1 inch connected under the arms, and I'm gonna continue knitting as much as I can to get this done by July. Thank you so much for watching my summer crafting vlog, and I wanna let you know that I host the Rose City Craft Club in Portland. You can find all the info on my Instagram at Stitched by Cleo. I'll be posting videos here probably weekly, so you can subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next week.